All right, YouTube. Another day in the shop. Got the door closed. It's 40 degrees outside. That's cold for Florida and stuff. So that's why we got the door shut, and probably the lighting is horrible. Let me see if I can block it out. No, I can't. So we'll just do this. So there you go. So if you guys remember, yesterday I was able to complete the left aileron elevator. Left elevator. And yeah, it was not completed, but get the skins done. I've got to put the wing, the tip elevator. Well, I'm gonna fall over. Tip on, which is this guy right here. So we have to rivet that on, and yeah, we're kind of. I can't believe it, but we're kind of at a waiting point then, because I have to wait. I've got some more Pro Seal coming, so I can get the trim tab and the lead or trailing edge Pro Seal together and everything. But we'll, today's just kind of easy day in the shop. Like I said, I got most of it done yesterday, which took me, I would have to say, a good week to a week and a half to get when I was working on the right side. Yeah, I'm just amazed. So I've got that to do. Some of the other things I got to do. So it's not going to be a complete waste. I have these mocked up. I just got to rivet these pieces. If you remember, well, you probably don't know, but these are where for the trim tab control cables get mounted or get screwed into this, and then this is that plate. So I got to finish those. Just little stuff, piddly stuff, as they would say, I have to do. I do still have to roll the edges or roll the backside, like what I did for the rudder. I'll show you here. So these skins on the we'll rotate that around. So those need to be rolled around, so they're kind of a half circle and everything, because that's, when they attach to the horizontal stabilizer, that roll, so that way they don't bind or hit. So I have to do that. I was going to do that all at once, because that in itself is an operation. So I was going to do both of them at the same time. And to be honest with you, I kind of like that they're flat now, because as you can see, I can set the part up on the bench. If they were rolled, they wouldn't sit up on the bench. So I'm going to leave those. So those just little stuff that we can do while we're waiting for the Pro Seal. So I can Pro Seal the trailing edge. Also need the Pro Seal. This is I can rivet part of this together. This is the trim tab. And I did order some more piano hinge to do something there. I'll show you how to keep, if you guys remember, had a problem with, not really a big issue, but with the piano hinge alignment. The way that I did, I have a new way of doing it, so I want to try that out. So I've got another piano hinge coming here in the next day or so I ordered it, so it probably won't be here for a week from Vans to get here, so I can get that done. So just little stuff, clean up stuff, and then I got to decide what I'm going to do as far as the tail cone. I think I can get the tail cone in here. I'll probably start on that while I'm waiting for the other parts. This is the actual part of the fuselage. We've been working on the tail feathers, and like I said, with this, I'm about done with the tail feathers. So I'll probably reset the shop up and get to work. But who knows, right? Hear God laugh, tell me your plans. But I'll tell you one thing. As you guys all know, this plane's not going to build itself, so I got to get to work. All right, YouTube, here we go. So I was able to get the end spar wingtip on, get this riveted in and everything. Now, if you guys watch my other videos, you would know when riveting this spar in, use gravity to your advantage. In other words, because you've got to rivet this side and then underneath. So, and you leave part of this undone so you can peel it back. But then when you put your bucking bar in, let it sit at the bottom, and then you can anchor it or kind of pivot it, you know, by reaching in this way as you get this one in. And then on this one here, you can kind of pivot it. You've got some relief holes, lightning holes here in the back that you could actually use as well. So that's really it. You just got to kind of work it out. I mean, in my other videos, I actually show you how to do it on the other elevator. But that completes. We've got everything riveted up. Now what we're waiting on is our Pro Seal, so we can put the leading edge together. And then the piano hinge. I do have the other hinge, so I can go ahead and at least get one side of it done the way that we want to do that, but I'll leave that for another day. But everything else is riveted and ready to go. This elevator is pretty much, skins are on. Just got to do the piano hinge and then the trim tab, and then that will conclude. So what I'll do is probably get back into here tomorrow and spend all day working on, or the rest of the day working on this hinge here, because this is very critical. I want to get this one as straight. The other one up there, I was able to get on. I did have to do a little bit of adjustment on it, so I want to try to avoid that with this one. Nothing major, just a little bit, So, so I want to, you know, do this one the way that it was suggested, and we'll go ahead and get that done. But we're kind of waiting until our Pro Seal gets here so we can button this thing up and be done with it. But that will conclude that. Then tomorrow, after working on that, I will also get the control cable arms. These are all marked up. Everything's been drilled, ready to go. And I'll go ahead and get those riveted up. Nothing major there, just got to rivet them. And I'll set up my other set to do that. So yeah, that is about it for tonight. Yeah, it was another great day in the shop as far as riveting goes. Oh, one of the questions that I did get is riveting on the inside up here in the tool. So what it is I will show you this. Now, you watch my other video when I did the other side, because I went into great detail or depth. But if you're too lazy to find the video, don't want to watch them. So there's a tool that you create or that you can buy. And what this allows you to do is to reach in there, and basically what you need to do is make sure your skin is lined up perfectly with your desk. What I did is I took a 2x4 in the back, along the back. I didn't have the tip on, the tip spar. I didn't have that on, so I was able to run the 2x4 all the way across. It's very important that you keep your part from moving, because you don't want to bend this metal here. Let me make sure I'm getting that. You don't want to roll this over, but what you do is you put this bar in like that, and then you kind of use the edge of the desk or your bench to kind of lift it up, and then you proceed to pneumatic it with the mushroom head or whatever you want to do. And that's how you do it. And I will tell you, I don't know if you guys can see inside there, but those make for great rivets. Get my hand out so it looks really good inside there. So that's how you get these in here. It's really not the only way. I'm sure you can probably figure out another way, but that's the way that that's the way that they tell you to do it. They do give you can buy this piece of steel. I would recommend buying it, but you can make it, the plans, the Vans plans, they do have the dimensions and how to make this piece of steel if you want, but to be honest with you, I would just probably buy one, and it'll make life a lot easier. Not anything real tricky on this. It's just a lot of, you just got to read. A couple mistakes that, you know, obviously you guys know that I made is this far spar, or the end spar for this. I countersunk. They only want you to countersink 29 holes, not the whole thing. I countersunk them all. That was a mistake. Vans did say it was okay, but there's a caveat there. You have to do it right. You can't enlarge the hole. You can't oblong the hole. You can't go too deep. There's just a lot of, if you mess it up, you got to throw it out anyway. So what I did is I just reordered the part and did it the way that Vans wanted me to do it. And yeah, it turned out really nice. Really happy with it. Those rivets just look, oh my gosh, just beautiful. So yeah, so this part is ready to go except for the trailing edges, and then putting on the piano hinges, and then the rudder, or not the rudder, but the trim, the trim tabs and everything. Now, Vans, the trim on this, and this is something that I am dealing with, or not dealing with, but let me switch the camera. Yeah, so trim. So the Vans, if you fly in a Cessna or one of those, a lot of your trim, especially on your small airplanes, I get out of that light, is manual. It's a wheel that you turn, and it's a manual process to set your trim. Vans uses an electronic trim. Okay. I can see that's pretty cool. I mean, you know, the fact you just push a button, it's kind of like your video game or your flight sim. It's electronic, so it adjusts the trim. But you have to be concerned with that as what they call runaway trim. So say you're flying, or say you're landing and you're setting your trim, and all of a sudden it's because it is electronic, right? It's electrons. It could short out, it could do whatever, cause that trim to engage and go past. Now, you can fight it, but you really don't, especially when you're landing, you really don't want to be fighting trim. You just don't want to, right? You can be fighting, and a lot of guys. Now, the good news is, like, when I fly, I give myself a little nose up trim to help me on the flare, right? I know some people say, "Oh, it's not the flare," space shuttle flares, jets flare, but says. I've been taught to give myself a little nose up trim. So say that did run away, and it was running away in that direction, it would cause you. Now, the problem is that cause you to stall, right? You're playing pitch up. So I'm a little torn. I don't know if I really like the electronic trim. I kind of like the wheel, being able to adjust the trim by the wheel. So at worst case scenario, I'm going to go with, I've already decided my electronics, unless they go out of business and stuff. And I hope they don't. Dynon and Advance with what they call the red box. So it's all the surfaces are in there. It's kind of, VX Power it competes. Everything goes into a box, and then it's a really nice system. The problem is with that is that, it has electronic circuit breakers inside. I don't know if I like that for that regard. There's two circuit breakers that I'm probably going to have a circuit breaker or a switch. One of them is trim, so I can disengage. I can turn the power off to the trim if that servo starts kicking and going crazy. I don't know. I got to talk to some more people at Vans Aircraft and stuff to see. But if I have a runaway trim scenario, to turn that off so that servo is no longer getting powered. The autopilot, definitely. I'm going to have an autopilot switch so I can cut power to the autopilot and everything. But I'm kind of intrigued. It's cool, the electronic trim. And I don't know how much of a problem it is. From what I'm reading, it's not really a big issue, but part of being a pilot is we, as pilots, you can learn how to fly an airplane in about 5 hours. I'm talking fly the airplane. The FAA requires you 40 hours or thereabout, yes, 40 hours of flying, additional flying. What that is that's a combination of learning how not to crash the airplane. So it's very, flying an airplane and learning how to fly an airplane is very kind of a preventative in nature. Our whole process of before we go out and fly is prevention. You know, if you don't feel good, don't fly. That's preventative. The weather's too bad, don't fly. You know, it's a lot of our decision making process is around prevention, and you know, keeping our, you know, don't do things that will lead to an eventual, you know, that chain. You know, your chain's only as good as its weakest link. So don't be a weak link. Make sure your craft, make sure everything. So when you can identify the whole FIAA, the whole crash, the reason why they do crash investigations, not for insurance reasons. They do it to try to see if they can prevent the next crash. That's what it's all about. So if you can identify early on a potential issue, it's your responsibility as a pilot, as a builder, to mitigate that. Now there's risk reward, you know, there's a whole bunch, there's not risk reward. That should never be in the equation. It's risk. You need to mitigate risk. So if you can identify ahead of time a potential issue or a potential failure or something like that, you got to mitigate it. That's what being a pilot is about. Anybody can fly a plane. It takes a certain individual, and there's a lot of individuals out there that don't get that concept, and they don't adhere to it. They go out and they fly. You know, those are the guys that usually, you know, unfortunately, they take innocent people along with them. But so yeah, I've identified. I'm a little concerned about runaway trim. So how do we mitigate it? What can we do, or what can I do as a builder of an airplane and as a pilot? What can I do to mitigate that? You know, a lot of, like I said, the airplanes these are control surfaces. These got cables. They got physical connections, and you can view those, and you can look at them, and you can inspect them. How do you inspect a wire? How do you inspect a electronic? I mean, I can tell you the electronic parts on my car fail quicker than the mechanical parts. See what I'm saying? So I got, you know, I got to kind of put some processes or some thought behind this. How am I going to runaway trim electronics? Yeah, you know, the rest of the van's airplane is fly-by. It's a mechanical pulleys, mechanical. You know, this part is electric. So that's a concern. Autopilot, it's all electric. There's no mechanical there. So I am definitely going to be putting a circuit breaker on my autopilot so I can disengage it when I need to. You know, the electronics, a lot of people, that leads to the conversation of electronics in the airplane. Yeah, we've gone to glass panels, they're all electronic, but they have batteries, and you have multiple systems. You have triple. In my airplane, I'm gonna go with three panels. I'm gonna have two Adahars, which is your pitch, roll, you know, sensors, all of that. So you're gonna have double that. I'm gonna have a pedostatic system, just like you do on a normal, you know, for other things. So I'm gonna have triple flight actually I'm gonna have three independent panels that can, if I need them to be, they have their own GPS unit, they have their own everything in them. So they're three independent systems on three independent batteries. I'm gonna have two, you know, GPS sensors plus my IFR sensors plus, so multiple levels of redundancy in electronics. Why? Because electronics fail. You know, they do. So multiple. Can't visually inspect, you know, circuits, resistors, transistors, capacitors. You can't inspect those. So yeah, a little. I'm thinking about it, and you're going, "Why are you thinking about this? It's too early in the thing." Well, not really, because I'm going to start in next week or so. I'm going to start building a tail cone. I've got to put that servo. I've got uh, two 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 servos that go in the tail, and I got to start thinking about that, and seeing what I'm going to do. So yeah, got a lot done. I appreciate you guys. I'm just ranting now, but I appreciate you guys sending with me. Put in your comments, your thoughts, and everything. And if you know of a system or something that's, please share it with me. This is the time. This is why we do this. This is why I do this. Not only keep track of what I'm doing, but to also get your feedback and your advice. So, well, that's enough. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for being in the shop. Hopefully the Pro Seal will be here sometime this week. We'll get this thing wrapped up, and then we're going to be building the tail cone. How cool is that? On the tail cone, I might do something a little bit different with the cameras. I don't know, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there, right? No rush. So, well, like always, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for joining us. God bless. Be safe. Do the right thing, and see you when I see you again.